and welcome along to today's video. The Woman Who Fell to Earth has been and gone, a fantastic start to the series, but what will the Ghost Monument bring for Doctor Who? So yes, we're already on to the second half of the series. It's flown by. This week feels like it's been actually really quick. I've certainly had a lot of fun making lots of videos about The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and it's nice to now have a new episode to talk about, and a shorter titled episode, because The Woman Who Fell to Earth is a very long title, particularly when you're typing it out. I'm going to try and do these sort of previews for pretty much every episode of the series. That's certainly my plan. I will say now that there is the possibility of spoilers in these videos, or at least minor spoilers. Like, I'm not going to I don't know the whole plots to all the episodes, but I'm not going to try and tell you that, but just little sort of tidbits of information that I found from various previews of the episode and that kind of thing. I will generally try and throw into these to give it something interesting for you to actually learn and find out something new. So just be aware, if you really want to go blind to the episode, probably switch off now. So yes, what are we expecting from the Ghost Monument? Well, it's the Doctor and her companions, or friends as they're now called, have ended up on some sort of alien planet for the first time. Obviously, they were in space. How are they going to sort that out? I can't imagine, being honest about it, it'll probably be a pretty quick resolution. Because it's just not a cliffhanger that you know is going to stick. It's like, it's a nice way to lead into the second episode, but probably in about 30 seconds that will be resolved. It really wouldn't surprise me. And then we end up on some sort of desert planet, which looks absolutely visually stunning from the short trailer we've seen. It really looks just so impressive. Like, the visuals are absolutely incredible across these deserts. I think a lot of it was filmed in South Africa, so that certainly sort of will help give it that kind of alien feel, I think, almost, particularly for our sort of UK viewers who aren't used to that sort of environment. So I think that should add very effectively to it. One of the strongest parts of episode 1 was the visuals, and I definitely think that's going to continue through to this episode as well. Plot-wise, I'm really not too sure what to expect. I get the sense from reading some of the previews that it isn't going to be the most complex plots we've ever seen. I don't really know what the plot is going to be, but I think it's going to be fairly straightforward. I mean, what's quite interesting is the title, The Ghost Monument. Is this a story about ghosts, or is the emphasis on monument? Who knows, really. It's quite an interesting one. I certainly seen the kind of general fan idea or possibility is that the Ghost Monument might refer to the Tardis as being a monument to this sort of this race of people who are, like, I don't know, worshipping or kind of scared of almost maybe this monument, which turns out to be the Tardis. I think that would be quite a cool sort of interesting, fun idea, and a great way to sort of introduce the Tardis back into the show as well. By having it as sort of the villains, the aliens, like a god almost, I think would be such a really cool idea. Who knows if it'll actually happen, but I would love to see that. And of course, the big question, my titular question for this video, is will we see the Tardis in this episode? It is the biggest thing that we haven't seen yet in Doctor Who Series 11. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff last week, but Chris holding stuff back for this week. Minor spoiler alert, what we do know is that the title sequence will be in this episode, and it will be the very first thing you see. There's no pre-title sequence. The episode will launch straight into the brand new titles, which I'm really excited for, because I think it's going to be proper, like, Pertwee vibes, sort of proper retro Pertwee vibes to fit the kind of music they've gone with this for as well. So I'm really excited to see that. But of course, we know that's happening, so the interesting thing will be is whether the TARDIS is going to be shown for the first time. Are they going to try and hold that over to episode 3, or are we going to get it this week? It's a really interesting thing of what they're going to do, because we genuinely don't know. Like, none of the previews have referenced the TARDIS in the slightest. There's nothing. So either the most likely thing seems they have been told you cannot even hint at the TARDIS in your preview for these episodes, but that's just, they're just going trying to make it a complete surprise. Which might suggest it is in this episode, or it might not. I really don't know. Certainly I'm looking forward, if we do get the TARDIS, to what it's going to look like. Unfortunately, I have seen 1 or 2 of these leaked images, so I have got a rough idea of what the new TARDIS set looks like. Obviously, I'm not going to put it out, I'm not going to spoil it for you at all. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing the TARDIS in all its full glory for the first time, and seeing how they sort of introduce that to the characters and everything else as well, because obviously none of the friends know about the TARDIS and this whole idea of time travelling and everything. They don't really know about that yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that introduced to them and how they'll deal with that as well. It should make for some fantastic scenes, I really think. Hopefully this episode will really sort of continue to develop all the relationships between the characters. Certainly a lot of the previews have suggested that it's another kind of more character-based than plot-driven story. It's not a slow-paced story, but it's certainly not really rapid, fast-paced, plot-heavy. We're going to get through all the action scenes sort of thing. It's a lot more, I think, sort of walking and talking to a large degree, and really just developing and building up the relationships between all the main characters, which I think is still really important at this early stage. And I think to a large degree episode 2 is still going to be a fair amount of sort of setting up the characters and the story for the rest of the series, rather than really kind of going off on a brand new fresh adventure, forgetting about meeting and all the new stuff and just having an adventure. I don't think we're quite at that stage yet. Maybe for episode 3 we will be, but I think there'll still be a bit of setting up at this stage. One of the other intriguing things was there's a hint that there might be some sort of story arc for this series that's introduced in episode 2, which of course before the series, Chris and Matt Strevens and all those people were saying, nope, none of it, it's 10 individual episodes, that's all it is. There's character arcs, but there's no story arc or anything like that. But they're hinting there might be, so I'm really interested to see what that's going to be, because I'm a huge fan of story arcs, and I really hope we do get one for this series, and I was a little bit disappointed when they said it wasn't happening. So the fact that it now might be, it's fantastic news to me, but of course what exactly it's going to be, goodness knows. And so overall, I don't think this is going to be the greatest episode of Doctor Who you've ever seen. It's, to some degree, I think, going to be a classic episode 2 of a series, which is the kind of fairly bog standard, fun, enjoyable, rarely a very heavy story, but nothing sort of really spectacular to write home about, really to remember as a classic episode. But there's nothing wrong with that, I think, at this stage. I'm certainly very optimistic for episode 3, called Rosa. I obviously won't be previewing that just yet, but I really think that could be a proper classic. I think we do need one fairly early one from Chris and the team, just to sort of really hook the viewers and hook the audiences by really just delivering an out-of-the-park episode, which unfortunately I don't think this is quite going to be, but I'm still really excited about it, and I'm sure it's still going to be a really sort of enjoyable, rompy episode. But what about you guys? What are you predicting? What are your little, what have you heard from the inside about this episode? What are your little sort of predictions of the possible plot? What is the Ghost Monument? Will we see the Tardis? What's the story arc going to be, if there is one? I'd love to know what you guys have to say about all these things. But that is just about it for this video. Do remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, go follow me on Twitter at EMS_Productions for all the latest updates on my new videos and random ramblings about Doctor Who generally, which is always quite fun, so go follow me for that. But other than that, I will see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye!